Hi, I'm Eric Folks. I'm an Instructional Technology Coordinator for Lampasas ISD, and we're here today to talk about the Student Library iPads, some secondary student do's and don'ts. Notice first, the decisions you make each day in class will determine the future of LISD iPads. Right now we're just getting started, but there are lots of people that would like to see more iPads in student hands. Where we go from here is ultimately going to be up to you, the students. These do's and don'ts are a supplement to the responsible use policy found in the student handbook. Let's start with some do's, the good stuff. Use the iPads to explore, learn, and create digital content. With iPads, you're going to be able to create neat videos, skits, plays, pictures, annotations, all sorts of amazing things you could never do with laptops or desktops. Use the iPads to communicate and collaborate as your teacher permits. These are great tools for you getting information to and from other people, for working on cooperative projects, but let's make sure that we're just doing it when our teacher permits and staying on task. Next, keep track of the apps that you log into so that you can log out of them later. This would include any Gmail, Dropbox, or other cloud storage. You want to make sure that anything you've signed into, you sign out of before you turn the iPad back in. Next one, once you've signed in to your preferred cloud storage provider and added your school-issued Gmail account, make sure that you email yourself or upload to your cloud storage provider anything that you want to save from the iPads. At the end of the day, these are wiped and restored from a clean backup, so you'll lose anything that you leave on the iPads. Next, be respectful of others' learning environment. Keep the multimedia volume down. Even better, bring some of your own headphones. You can imagine what it's like with 30 people listening to 30 different videos at the same time without any headphones. Next one, and this is a big one. Ask permission before you take pictures or video or post pictures or video of others, including your teacher. We have the ability to disable the camera on the iPads, but we really don't want to do that. There are too many neat things we can do with it. And this is the last one, the big one. There's a 3-step process at the end of every period that you're going to want to make sure that you go through to cover yourself so that no other student can surf the web and appear as you online or have access to your stuff, your projects, whatever the case may be. So in this order, you're going to want to sign out or unlink from any app that you've logged into. You're going to want to go into the settings, mail, contacts, and calendar and delete the Gmail account, the school-issued Gmail account that you've added. Last thing you're going to want to do is go into the settings, Wi-Fi, and forget LISD-SEC, then turn off the Wi-Fi. Let's cover some don'ts. First, there's a big one. Don't reset the iPad. Resetting the iPad will likely result in an immediate or permanent suspension of use. We're going to cover this one in more detail here in a minute. This is the big one, the one that could prevent you from being able to use the iPad in the future. This is a whole lot more likely. The iPad has got all sorts of amazing apps. You're going to be tempted to tune out your teacher and their instructions and not stay on task. If that happens and you make it difficult for your teacher to use technology in the classroom, it's unlikely that they're going to want to continue to battle the iPad for your attention. So let's make it easy on them. We covered this one. Don't take or post pictures of others without their express permission. I include it here again just to make sure that you understand that one. It's important. Don't trade iPads with somebody else. Always keep track of the one issued to you. If you go to the restroom, give your iPad to your teacher and then get it when you get back. That way nothing disappears and you're not held responsible. Next, don't create a passcode lock so the next student has difficulty accessing the iPad. The iPads are wiped at the end of the day and it will remove that passcode, but the student trying to use the iPad the next period is not going to be able to do that if you put a passcode lock on it. Plus, we check these at the end of the period to make sure you haven't put a passcode lock on there. And if you do, it's a disciplinary issue. Let's not go there. Another big one, don't change the lock screen wallpaper. We're going to talk about this in more detail here in a minute, but we use the lock screen wallpaper to keep track of the number of the iPad. We check out a particular iPad to you with a number on it, and when you check it back into us at the end of the period, we look for that same number and it's kept on the lock screen wallpaper. Once you change it, there's no way for you to change it back to the original, so don't ever change it. Don't make any changes in the settings general portion of the iPad, except if you choose to, you can adjust the side switch, some multitasking gestures, sounds, or the home screen wallpaper. but not the lock screen wallpaper. Next one, don't bother customizing all the native apps. These are going to be wiped at the end of the day. There's no use you trying to put in your contacts and put in your calendar events and things like that if you've only got it for 45 minutes. Lastly, don't try to log in with your own Apple ID. At this point, we will put all the apps on the iPads. Alright, let's get to the specifics. Know your wallpaper. We've talked about the lock screen and the home screen wallpaper, and these are just little snapshots of how mine look right now. If you click on the one on the lock screen or the home screen, either way, it's going to take you into a section that looks like this. You'll have the ability to pick some wallpaper, in which case it'd take you to all the default wallpaper, or if you've taken some pictures with the iPad, then you'll see all those pictures show up right here. It doesn't matter if you go to the wallpaper or the camera roll. When you actually click on an image, like let's say I click on this one, it's going to give us a full screen preview of what that image looks like, and in the top right hand corner we're going to see these options. You can see the only one that we can do is this one right here, set the home screen wallpaper. Alright, let's look at some other specifics. In the general section there is the passcode lock right here, and it's turned off. Let's keep it that way. Okay, we've talked about that. Next one, under restrictions right over here, leave these alone. Throughout the year we may turn these on or off. Right now these are turned off, but just stay out of the restrictions because that can make things difficult and complicated for other students to use it, plus it could result in disciplinary action, just like setting a passcode lock. Okay, notice my not so sparing use of red. This is the big one, the real big one. If you reset the iPad, what you're going to do is remove all of the security restrictions that we put on there. These are things like media content restrictions that we're required by federal and state law to include on the iPad so that you don't have access to things you shouldn't, like R-rated movie content and things like that. If you reset the iPad, you will remove all those content restrictions, but you're also going to remove all of the apps as well. So when your teacher wants you to use a particular app, you're not going to be able to find it. It's also going to change the lock screen wallpaper. And it's also going to result in you most likely being blacklisted from using the iPad for the semester or the year. This is very, very bad news for you. Don't be that one kid in class having to use pencil and paper while everybody else is taking amazing video using the iPad. If you have any questions, ask your teacher before you do anything. Thank you for your time and enjoy.